A single story, when it's told really well, can do so much more than just inform people. It can bring a whole neighborhood together, it can change minds, and it can spark real, actual change. So today, we're going to break down how you can create a powerful community documentary that does exactly that. Let's get into it. Maybe you've seen a problem right there in your own community. A challenge that really needs a spotlight, or maybe a local hero whose voice just needs to be heard. Do you have a story that you feel deep down just has to be told? Well, if that sounds like you, you're in the right place. All right, let's start our filmmaker's journey right at the beginning, shall we? Every great documentary, every single impactful story is built on a rock-solid foundation. And that foundation? It's your core mission. Okay, so the very first thing you've got to ask yourself is why? What's the goal here? It pretty much boils down to one of three things. Are you trying to inform? That's just about presenting the facts, like, hey, here's the deal with our local water shortage. Or do you want to persuade? This is where you start nudging people towards action, like, we should all use less plastic. Or maybe you're aiming to advocate. This is a direct call for change, pushing for, say, better community services. A doc on a water crisis, for example, could totally do both, inform people about the problem and advocate for a specific solution. Now, this is huge. Who are you talking to? Because that changes everything. If your audience is local residents, you'd probably use simpler language, right? Maybe even a local dialect to really connect with them. But if you're talking to students, you'd want to throw in more explanations and some really engaging visuals to keep their attention. Knowing your audience is absolutely key. And here's a perfect example of what a core message should look like. It's so simple, it's focused, and wow, is it powerful. See, instead of trying to solve every problem under the sun, the Patek ng Buhay idea zeroes in on one clear thought. This is a problem we all share, and we gotta work together to fix it. That's the kind of crystal clear focus you're aiming for. Okay, so your foundation is set. Now what? Well, every good foundation needs a blueprint, right? You need a solid plan to bring your mission to life. Let's take a look at how to build that structure. There's a classic storytelling structure that pretty much always works. First, your introduction. This is your hook. Think powerful shots of empty water jugs to really grab someone's attention. Then, the background, where you give the context, the facts. Step 3 is the main content, the real heart of your film, the interviews, the real-life stories. Then comes the analysis, which is basically the so what moment, where you explain why this is happening. And you wrap it all up with a conclusion that absolutely must have a powerful call to action. Now, think of these strategies as different tools in your filmmaking toolkit. You're not just going to pick one, you're going to weave them all in. You'll be informative with your facts and stats. You'll be persuasive using those emotional, personal stories. You'll make it participatory by including tons of different community voices, and you'll drive it all home with advocacy by clearly pointing out the changes that need to happen. And please, whatever you do, do not skip this part. A simple script for what you're going to say and a storyboard, which honestly can just be a list of your scenes in order, that's going to be your map. A little bit of planning here will save you a ton of headaches later and make sure your final story actually makes sense. All right, blueprints in hand. It's time for the really fun part, getting out there into the field. This is where the plan meets reality, and you start capturing the real, authentic voices of your community. But hold on. Before you even think about hitting that record button, we need to talk about something that is absolutely non-negotiable: ethics. This is the bedrock of community storytelling. You always ask for permission. You get explicit, clear consent for interviews. You respect people's privacy. Remember, your job is to empower people, not to exploit them. Building that trust is everything. Now, for your interviews, the questions you ask are going to make or break the story. You have to avoid simple yes or no questions. Instead, ask these beautiful, open-ended questions like, what challenges do you face? Or, can you tell me how this affects your daily life? Questions like these invite people to share their real experiences, and that's where you'll find the gold. And while you're out there filming, try to think in layers. Your visuals, yeah, they should have those emotional close-ups, but don't forget the wide shots that give the whole picture, the context. And your audio is just as important. Of course, you need clear narration, but listen for those natural sounds of the community, the ambient noise. All those little details are what make the experience feel real and immersive. So you've done all the hard work in the field. You've got hours of incredible, raw material. Now what? Well, now comes the magic, the final cut. This is where you shape all those pieces into one cohesive, powerful message.
I know editing can feel like this huge, scary task, but trust me, if you just break it down into steps, it's totally manageable. First, just organize everything, get it all in one place. Then put together a rough cut. Don't worry about it being perfect, just get the story in the right order. Then you can go back and polish the audio and the visuals. And one last crucial step, add subtitles. Especially if you used a local dialect, this makes sure your film is accessible to absolutely everyone.
Now, as you're putting that final polish on your film, never forget this one thing. The whole point of this is to inspire action. So the most important part of your entire ending is a clear, direct call to action. Don't just show them the problem, tell your audience exactly what they can do about it. What is the one specific thing you want them to do the moment the credits roll? All right, we are so close. The film looks great, the message feels right. But before you hit publish and share it with the world, there's one last super important step. The final impact check. Seriously, pull up your final project and ask yourself these questions one by one. Is my message crystal clear? Did I really think about my audience? Can you see the different communication strategies at work? Are those interviews really meaningful? And the big one, is there a clear call to action? If you can confidently check all those boxes, you, my friend, are ready to go. So there you have it. The blueprint is all laid out for you. The tools are ready to go. The only question left is, what story will you tell?